We stretch and stretch and stretch to perform our organizational roles and responsibilities. Wearing many hats and serving many different people and parts of the organization is just how it is. Behind us sits an organization dependent upon rigid structures and formal disciplines that control, coordinate, and orchestrate all of our efforts into visible, measurable results. You're nodding your head, but is there anything else we might want to add to this picture? How might this picture morph when we consider tackling tomorrow's challenges? I make a lot of bread. It's always a humbling experience. While recipe and techniques are pretty consistent, results can vary greatly from one loaf to the next. For me, this consistency coupled with variability is part of the allure of making bread. One culture of yeast is not exactly like another. One loaf is familiar enough to satisfy and yet different enough each time to mystify. The other day I was making sourdough bread. Growing and cultivating yeast for bread harvesting is a long, patient process, but well worth the effort. Sourdough is a wet, sticky dough with long rise cycles. When finally ready to be baked, the dough is practically poured into molding pans. There's something about watching the dough ooze into the pans, knowing that this sleeping dynamic giant will be coaxed and molded by the pan's rigid structure. Without the pan, the bread would become more like flatbread or croutons, tasty morsels with that wonderful tangy sourdough quality, but without form or shape. The potential of the bread, after all of its stages of work, would fall flat. Here, structure and function combine forces to contain the latent potential of the bread. Then it struck me. The dough's dormant elasticity is actualized through the pan's structure. Elasticity. That's the kind of malleability that leads to agility that we need in today's organizations. So, do we make space for people and organizations to expand in flexible ways to create new spaces of value generation? And do we at the same time combine agility with the requisite structures of business? I see a dynamic dance between these necessities, elasticity on the one hand and business disciplines on the other hand, where elasticity fosters ceaseless value generation, people tirelessly creating this oozing potential, seeping and expanding like hot lava into every crevice it can find, and then the business disciplines like finance, accounting, operations, and technology acting as a gluing force holding things together, rigid to keep us purposefully contained, but elastic enough to respond with emergent solutions to ongoing competitive shifts.